Hi guys, I hope you're all having a great weekend. I have been away for some time and working with my new job, getting into that, but I hope you're all fine. Today I'm back with a new video and I thought I was going to dedicate this one to trying to define a bunch of Republicans that are not exactly pro-Trump, because I do feel that the label RINO is far too often being used about people who are not really moderate or close to Democrats or fake Republicans, but are simply not in the Trump direction of the party. And because of that, I have this tier ranking that I'm going to use today to define Republicans that are actual RINOs, like Lisa Murkowski. Those that are pro-Trump are already in that sector. And also people that are not at all RINOs, like Pat Toomey, who, when he first ran in 2004 and again in 2010, he was considered too far right for the state of Pennsylvania, to the right of Rick Santorum, and he was viewed as too right-wing and conservative to be able to win in the state. And so I absolutely would say that he, along with some others on this list, can absolutely not be called a RINO. But I have started with the most clear example of a RINO in the Republican Party, and of course that is Lisa Murkowski. And I'm going to go through this list now. Now, the next one here is Roy Blunt, who is a typical swamp turtle. He has been in DC for a bit too long, and it is probably a good thing that he's retiring, even though we maybe haven't seen too many promising candidates for the GOP in Missouri. But yeah, pretty much. John Bozeman is one that is quite difficult to categorize, even though he does have some neocon in him. I would say that he is probably, yeah, he fits best into the neocon category, even though I could put him somewhere else. Now, Mike Brown is someone who did run with a lot of Trump support, and my main grudge against him is the entire support of the BLM movement thing, which I do feel is actually enough to put him in the bad enough category. He is not a swamp turtle, he was a businessman, an outsider who ran for Senate, so he does not belong there. Now, Richard Burr from North Carolina, he has actually been able to keep a seat Republican and win by quite significant margins in years past, definitely beating Trump's margin in 2016, and I think that he is actually significantly conservative, even though he did vote to impeach Trump. It was a really big surprise because he has been quite supportive of him before that. Now, Bill Cassidy is someone who should probably be more of a loyal Republican, considering he represents Louisiana, a deep red state, so I'm going to put him in bad enough, because that is also a factor. Now, because Susan Collins is the next one on the list, and since her voting record looks a lot like Lisa Murkowski's, we could say that they were as bad. But Susan Collins represents Maine, which has voted Democratic for every election since 1992, and she has still been a quite important vote for Republicans when it matters, and I think that she has been as conservative as it would be reasonably possible for her to do, considering she had to win a tough re-election bid in 2020. So it is quite difficult to say that she is significantly conservative, but I'm actually going to put her in the category not at all a RINO. Yes, she is more moderate than most over here, above her, but she represents Republicans in Maine, I think, in a good way. Had it been Pennsylvania or Ohio or a more conservative state, I would say that she was not doing a good job, but since it is Maine, I think that we should be happy with her. Now, Tom Cotton is, as his friend Bozeman, a neocon. Considering they represent Arkansas, I do believe that Arkansas could do a bit better in terms of having people that are either very Trumpian or very conservative and very trade, very sort of nationalist in that area, because I do feel that it is easily a state that could have elected someone like Josh Hawley or Marsha Blackburn, which I know are very good conservatives. Now, Mike Crapo He has been sort of a critic of Trump at times, but I do believe he did not vote to impeach Trump. But even though he in many respects don't like Trump, I think he is still actually significantly conservative. You could say that he's bad, but meh. Lindsey Graham has been sort of a moderate, and he has been a neocon that also has turned out to be quite a strong supporter of Trump with the time. I think he actually still belongs in the neocon column, since he did not quite make it to the pro-Trump column. Simply because there are still a lot of people that have grudges against him, and I can see the arguments. James Langford, significantly conservative. Mike Lee, also significantly conservative. Mitch McConnell, I don't think I need to tell you, he is a swamp turtle. He is the definition of a swamp turtle. Now, Rob Portman, I think, belongs in the... Well, it is actually quite difficult. He is sort of a swamp turtle, but more than that, I believe he is not at all a rhino. He has been a reliable vote. He has not been very conservative, but a guy that manages to win re-elections by 20% in a swing state, at least a former swing state like Ohio, I believe that he deserves our respect. Romney, he is bad enough in most aspects. I mean, he marched with BLM, which I think is a disgrace that any Republican would do. And of course he has been quite anti-Trump. Much more than necessary, even for him. I mean, he represents Utah. He represents a very, very solid Republican state, and he should represent it more like someone like Mike Lee. Also, we have Marco Rubio, who has been not very vocal about support or opposition to Trump while he was president. He has mostly talked about issues instead of Trump. And I do believe he was like Toomey, he was someone that won with a lot of Tea Party support. And I think that you can say that he's not at all a rhino. Definitely. Now, Ben Sass, he is actually quite conservative. He is actually quite conservative on things like abortion and other social issues. So I think I would call him a significantly conservative. His big minus is that he hates Trump personally. And his personal disgust for Trump is not a good representation of his state. But I still think that he is in his right column right now. Now, Richard Shelby of Alabama. He represents the very, very conservative and Trumpian state of Alabama. I think that they should have someone more like Jeff Sessions in that role. He was originally a Democrat and he's been there since 1987. And he has not been quite where you would like him on issues and Trump support and all of that. I think that he definitely belongs in the swamp turtle category. Now, Tim Scott, I know that someone like Red Eagle Politics call him a SJW on social issues, and I do believe it makes sense in some regards, but is he that bad? I mean, he has been quite supportive of Trump, not too much, but he is also very conservative on other accounts. So yeah. Only two left, Mr. Todd Young and Mr. John Thune, who I believe last time I checked was the Senate majority whip. Of course, he's no longer in the majority, but I haven't watched too much of the Senate because I know that he's being run by Chuck Schumer, so it can't be going that well. Anyway, John Thune did a quite big achievement by knocking off a sitting Senate minority leader in 2004 when he won his Senate seat, and I believe that he is actually significantly conservative. I wish I knew more about his issues, but that's where he is currently. Now, the last one is Todd Young. Todd Young is also someone I would put in the neocon category, even though you could say that he is at least not a rhino or very conservative, but I think that he also fits this category quite well. Now, Looking back at this video, I know that I only placed Markowski in the Rhino column, but I do believe that you could place more there. You could say that Collins is a Rhino, even though I mean that she's absolutely not, considering how she represents Maine. And there are many other arguments. You could say that Romney is a Rhino, but I do believe that running on a Republican ticket in 2012 and going against Obama and doing an honest effort in defeating him, I think that calling him a Rhino is also a bit overstated, even though I do disagree a lot with his support for BLM. But anyway, this was today's video. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.